Hello, I hope you're having a good day. Today we'll look at the series called Cloak and Dagger. Tandy Bowen is a white middle-class girl. Her father, Nathan, works at Roxon and is usually late, while her mother is frequently ill, leaving Tandy alone. After a ballet class, Tandy waits in the rain. When her father arrives, they argue briefly before a call about an oil platform interrupts them. Suddenly, the platform explodes, and the car with both of them falls into the water. Elsewhere, Tyrone Johnson and his brother walk through the city. Some friends want them to steal a car, but his brother refuses. Tyrone, trying to help, steals some speakers and gives them away. His brother, angry, tells him to return them. A police officer surprises them, and they run. At the docks, his brother tells Tyrone to hide while he distracts the cop. Tyrone watches him fall and jumps into the water. At the same time, Tandy tries to wake her trapped father. A second underwater explosion releases a bright energy that surrounds both children. Years later, Tandy survives by scamming rich men with the help of her boyfriend Liam. Tyrone is a basketball team star but remains impulsive. During a game, he fights another player and his parents scold him, showing that their financial situation has improved. In contrast, Tandy lives in a church. After the accident, Roxon blamed her father for the explosion, leaving them with nothing. Her mother fell into alcoholism. Liam gives Tandy $500 he stole and proposes they go to a forest party to steal more. Coincidentally, Tyrone also attends, invited by the cheerleaders. At the party, Tandy bumps into him intentionally to steal his wallet. When he realizes it, Tyrone follows her to a cemetery. When he reaches her, a white light appears in Tandy's hand and pushes him away. Tyrone, surrounded by shadows, also manifests powers. Tandy recognizes him as the boy from the accident but disappears upon touching him. She hides and returns to the trailer where she lives with her mother, storing the loot in a pink bag. She lies, saying she was with Liam. Her mother, excited about her new lawyer boyfriend, notices a wound on Tandy's hand. When she touches it, Tandy sees a happy memory, revealing she can sense and manipulate people's hopes. Tyrone wakes up at Roxon confused and meets a red-haired policeman with a scar, James Connors, the man who killed his brother. When Tyrone reported him in the past, Chief Watts had claimed that officer didn't exist. Now, hearing his name, Leo, Tyrone searches for a photo at home and confirms it. While asleep, he teleports into Connor's car trunk using his ability to travel through shadows. He hears Connors planning to sell drugs from the police evidence room. When he opens the trunk, Tyrone surprises him by throwing the drugs at him and escapes. Connors catches him, but upon touching him, feels the deep fear inside. Leo, the officer who accidentally killed Billy, has always carried the guilt and used his connections to cover up the crime. When Tyrone confronts him, he teleports to flee. Meanwhile, Tandy, holding ballet tickets, wants to relive her dreams, but a rich young man intercepts her. He knew she would return after stealing from him. He dismisses his escort with bad intentions and attacks Tandy, who manages to stab him with a light dagger and escapes, unsure if she killed him. She asks Liam to get her out of town. When she calls the hospital, she learns the young man is still in intensive care and could identify her. She needs fake documents. At a laundromat, the owner tells them a secure ID costs over $10,000. Liam gets part of the money, but when Tandy goes back for her savings, she finds out her mother spent them on the lawsuit against Roxon. At the laundromat, she sees a wedding assistant with lots of cash. Tandy plans to steal the tip money handled by the maid of honor. They sneak into the wedding and Liam locates the woman. Although he asks no questions, Tandy senses his hopes. He wanted to marry her. Overwhelmed, she rejects him and hides in the bathroom. She steals the maid of honor's wallet and escapes with Liam in the wedding car. With the fake papers ready, Liam wants answers, but Tandy never sought a relationship. Meanwhile, Tyrone can't stop thinking about Leo. He follows him, but for missing practice, the whole team is punished. His teammates beat him in the locker room, and although he tries to teleport, he still can't control his power. Later, while spying on Leo, he makes a noise and is forced to flee. He returns home. admiring his mother's strength after Billy's death. Blinded by resentment, he breaks into Leo's house armed to take revenge. In a strange manifestation of their powers, Tyrone appears in front of the car Tandy is driving, causing an accident. She was on her way to save Liam after his arrest and crashes into a tree, not understanding what happened. Tyrone runs when he hears sirens. Officer Karen, in charge of the rich boy's case, investigates the stabbing. The boy lies, claiming a man attacked him, but the wounds on his face and clothes say otherwise. Tandy cleans the car of fingerprints and returns home. She finds her mother asleep next to her boyfriend among empty bottles. She isolates herself in the bathroom to tend her wounds, but her mother catches her. Just then, Karen knocks on the door. Her mother lies, saying she hasn't seen Tandy in months. Karen insists on entering, but without a warrant she can't. Still, she says she's not there to arrest Tandy but to help, suspecting she's a victim. After she leaves, her mother looks for Tandy, but she has already escaped through the back window. After many failures, Tyrone felt cursed. His classmate Lisa took him to her aunt, a psychic who recommended an herbal cleansing bath. During the bath, Tyrone had a vision where he met a young Tandy, and she also saw a young Tyrone. They shared their pain and realized that only together could they heal. From then on, their souls became connected, like the twins of Orleans. Awakening with clarity, Tandy contacted Officer Karen to report the young man who tried to attack her, but he had already closed the case using his influence. Frustrated, she went to the church and found Tyrone. He confessed he had seen her in a vision. They exchanged experiences and concluded that Roxanne was behind their powers. Tandy noted that if she had Tyrone's gift, she would have escaped the pain forever. When they tried to touch each other, a blast of energy threw them apart. Tandy advised Tyrone that if he wanted to expose Leo, he had to get to know him. First, she proposed pretending to be a victim, like reporting a stolen bike, to get closer to the station. Tandy, for her part, suspected Gray, her mother's boyfriend. When she approached him, she discovered he truly loved her and was committed to the case against Roxanne. She went to his law firm to learn more about the lawsuit. Though still legally married, he was living apart. Still, Tandy knew that detail affected her mother. Tyrone returned to the police station, but the trauma from his brother's death overwhelmed him, and he left without getting any information. At home, his father noticed wire cutters in his backpack. Alarmed, he took him to the South District, where he introduced him to the Red Hawk Clan, a group with deep cultural roots. There, Tyrone met an elder who explained the role of the Scouts and how his brother Billy had been destined to become one. His father showed him a special cloak that helped control his powers. Tyrone decided to keep it as Billy's legacy. Meanwhile, Tandy learned that her mother had argued harshly with Gray and that their relationship was in crisis. When she went to the law firm to talk to him, she witnessed an attack. A woman disguised as a delivery person killed Gray and burned the office. Gray had discovered something dangerous. Back home, her mother tried calling Gray to apologize. Not knowing the truth and fearing to devastate her, Tandy returned to the firm's ruins, opened a safe with her light dagger, and recovered important documents. Finally, Tyrone returned to the police station and spoke to Karen, the officer Tandy had mentioned. She explained that Leo worked in the Vice Unit, where many officers crossed lines to deal with criminals, making him dangerous, but also watched. Tyrone told Karen he saw Leo selling illicit substances. She promised to investigate him but asked Tyrone to stay out of it. Even so, the fall of small networks didn't stop the trafficking. Karen suspected Leo was working with a cartel that eliminated competitors to control the market. She visited Liam, now imprisoned, and offered to negotiate his release if he revealed who operated behind District 12. Motivated, Liam provided useful information. Following the lead, Karen found a dancer delivering money to a runner at a club, unaware of the true leader. The dancer accused Karen of being just like the other corrupt officers, looking for substances. Karen suspected she meant Leo, so she pretended to be using to gain her trust and infiltrate. Meanwhile, Tyrone focused on an important basketball game. His mother, who had rescheduled work commitments to attend, mentioned that her most important client was Roxanne. In parallel, Tandy discovered the annual benefit gala, Roxanne Charity, and decided to infiltrate. She stole a uniform from an elite school and posed as an influencer to get a job as an escort for the event. On the night of the gala, Tandy approached several executives, using her powers to read their thoughts. All of them imagined a businessman, Peter Scarborough. By constantly using her abilities, she unintentionally activated Tyrone's, who began failing on the court as he saw his teammates' fears just by touching them. During halftime, Tyrone teleported to the gala, asked for help to return, and Tandy pushed him down the stairs to reactivate his return. Back in the game, Tyrone couldn't recover his rhythm. He missed a decisive shot and his team was eliminated. That night, while sleeping, he had a vision. Leo was arguing with Dunn, an old friend of Billy. Leo had failed to protect his network and Dunn confronted him. Tandy, on her end, reviewed the recovered documents and saw many were signed by Peter. She decided to confront him. Wearing the stolen uniform, she pretended to have a flat tire and knocked on his door. Peter, deceived by her innocent appearance, stepped out to help her. Tandy read his thoughts. She saw him pulling bodies of dead workers out of the water and stealing their money. His true motivation was profiting from tragedy. She saw a helmet with the name Mina and remembered seeing her at the gala. To approach her, she posed as an intern. Mina Hess, an environmental scientist, was the daughter of Ivan, the only survivor of the explosion that killed Tandy's father. Mina accepted her presence but said she needed special gear, coveralls, repellent, goggles. Tandy prepared for fieldwork. Upon returning to the church with a large supply bag, she met Tyrone, who revealed that Dunn, his brother's friend, was associated with Leo. He tried to infiltrate their network, but Dunn told him there was no place for him. Tandy suggested that if there were no available spots in Dunn's network, Tyrone could create one by displacing someone. While he considered it, Tandy prepared for her new role with Mina. Upon arriving, she found a house full of plants, books, and an oil rig model. She tried to talk about the explosion from 8 years ago, but Mina quickly changed the subject. During their conversation, Mina confessed that what they were extracting wasn't oil, but a material with 10 times the combustion power. Her father, Ivan, had explained that the old platform's bombs couldn't contain it. Though they should have sealed the drilling, they didn't. Mina installed valves throughout the city to release pressure and prevent another catastrophe. Tandy mentioned reports blaming Nathan Bowen, but Mina denied them. My father said Nathan didn't make mistakes. Later, a technician reported valve failures due to installation errors. The person responsible, Tom, had cut costs, almost causing another explosion. Furious, Tandy vandalized Tom's car and nearly used her powers on Mina, but held back. Mina, disappointed by Tandy's lie, confessed that her father never spoke about the accident. So Tandy sought out Ivan. Meanwhile, Karen and Leo were on patrol. Karen, pretending to be addicted, tried to infiltrate Leo's network. During an operation, Leo arrested a dealer, beat him, and whispered, "Tell your boss he's being watched." The message reached Dunn, who demanded answers. To divert suspicion, Leo told Karen that an anonymous informant would reveal the distributor's identity. In parallel, Tyrone delivered a backpack as an excuse to approach Dunn. However, Dunn confronted him. "You were there when Billy died. Are you working with his killer?" Tyrone, hurt, recalled how no one believed his brother was murdered. Not even Dunn defended Billy. Before they could continue talking, Leo arrived. He asked Karen to wait in the car while he spoke to the informant. He knocked on the door and Dunn ordered Tyrone to leave through the back. As he did, Tyrone was wounded by Leo, who actually intended to kill Dunn. Tyrone made a noise as he fell. Leo chased him, but Tyrone managed to teleport in time. The dark mist absorbed him and transported him to a vision of the day of the platform explosion. Inside, he and Tandy were seen by the workers, who began attacking them as if they were hallucinations. They took refuge in an office where they found Ivan trapped in a mental loop, reliving the explosion over and over. Ivan explained that the extracted energy affected the human brain, generating pure fear that could spread like an emotional infection. Suddenly, Ivan remembered that the person who called Nathan Bowen on the day of the accident was himself. Just then, the phone rang. Tandy answered and heard her father's voice. Upon hanging up, she was teleported to a central area of the oil platform, only to find herself surrounded by a horde of monsters formed from fear. While Tandy was on the phone with her father, she couldn't let go of the call or of Ivan. Tyrone, facing the fear-born monsters, closed valves and restarted the system, but nothing changed. Tandy refused to leave the illusion. Tyrone tried to separate her from Ivan but could only enter her mind. In that mental world, years had passed. Tandy had forgotten him. Tyrone pleaded with her to wake up, but she clung to the memory of her father. Then he forcibly cut the call. Angry, Tandy attacked him. Tyrone firmly confronted her. "Are you sure it was your father? Ask him something only he would know." The phone rang again. "Are you driving down Paris Road? Who's in the back seat?" No one answered. Her father, realizing he was just an illusion. To awaken Ivan, Tandy showed him cookies made by Mina. He remembered how, before the accident, his daughter had lovingly given them to him. He finally regained his memory. Ivan had to close the valves himself. Waking up in the hospital, Mina came to see him. Tandy, happy about his recovery, also felt sadness. She would never see her own father again. Still affected, Ivan confessed to Tandy that Nathan had written a warning about structural failures on the platform. That note, and more evidence, were in a safe deposit box at City Lake Bank under the alias Bernie. The next day, Memorial Day and the anniversary of the accident, Tyrone organized a gathering with the Red Hawk clan. To his surprise, Tandy showed up to invite him to a memorial. Karen called Tyrone. Leo was acting strange. Maybe he remembered Billy's murder. Tyrone decided to wear clothes similar to his brother's to provoke him. Karen objected, but later helped him change his appearance to confuse Leo. Tyrone pretended to be Billy, leading Leo to confess. At that moment, Karen appeared and arrested him. Tandy, meanwhile, found the key to the safe deposit box among her father's things. Using Tyrone's mother's access card, she entered the Roxon building. Inside, she found Nathan's memo and samples of defective valves. Roxon had ignored critical warnings, provoking fear, violence, and tragedy. That night, Tandy and Tyrone reunited to honor their lost loved ones. Tandy decided to reveal the truth about Roxon to the media. She wanted to clear her father's name more than gain money. Tandy's mother also attended the ceremony. When Tandy touched her, she saw something terrible. Nathan wasn't as noble as she believed. He had been unfaithful and cruel to his wife. Disillusioned, Tandy chose to take the money. After the arrest, Karen received devastating news. Her partner, also a police officer, had been murdered. She called the station. At the scene, she found the weapon under the couch and evidence confirming that Leo had shot Billy. The police suspended Leo while the investigation began. Although the world now recognized Billy as a hero, Tyrone felt confused. No one had truly apologized. Tandy, meanwhile, threw herself into the lawsuit and distanced herself from everyone, including Tyrone. She ignored Mina's calls. Despite having achieved justice, Tyrone proving his brother was murdered, and Tandy exposing Roxon, both were marked by the emptiness of their losses. Nothing was more frustrating than watching their dreams fade into the night's darkness, leaving broken goals and withered hopes. Ivan continued to praise Nathan, which increasingly disturbed Tandy. Mina suggested that Tandy join Roxon as her assistant to finish their parents' unfinished work. In an attempt to steal Mina's hope, Tandy rushed to the door when, in a past instant, a bee flew by, a symbol of painful memories. Tandy's intention in saving Liam wasn't altruistic, but to steal the dream he had and use it to rebuild her own happiness. Before being able to talk to Tyrone, Tandy scolded him for intruding into her mind. While Lisa tried to mediate, she discovered that Liam had taken her savings. At the same time, Tyrone's mother called to discuss the events of the day, warning him that if a cop could kill a minor and hide it, impunity reigned. Just as the call ended, the police broke in, accusing Tyrone of being Karen's boyfriend's killer. With no time to defend himself, he fled through the window. As his mother had predicted, the situation was spiraling out of control. In the midst of the chaos, 2 workers were knocked down by a shockwave, and others infected by the fear syndrome lost consciousness. Meanwhile, Tandy returned home and discovered that the person responsible for Gray's death was holding her mother hostage. With determination, Tandy focused her energy into a blade and stabbed her opponent. Her mother defended herself with a weapon in hand, and the situation ended in a frantic escape. Tandy tried calling Mina with no success and urged her mother to seek shelter, explaining that the explosion 8 years ago released a strange substance that Peter had hidden to continue exploiting that energy. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Mina prepared to act. Meanwhile, Tyrone headed to the Red Hawk clan's territory to reclaim his father's control cloak. When he heard the police knocking at the door, he used his teleportation to blend into the crowd, though he couldn't avoid seeing the panic around him. Amidst the chaos, a local news outlet narrated the legend of the Orleans twins, a story of sacrifice during times of crisis that recalled old disputes and losses. It was announced that to save the city, one of them would have to make a sacrifice. The police arrested Tyrone without formally restraining his power, locking him in a storage room. At that very moment, an officer announced Leo's arrival. He wanted the area sealed. The situation worsened when a man infected with the fear syndrome burst into the station, spreading the virus quickly. Simultaneously, Tandy and Mina reached Roxon, where Peter explained that manual valve control was located in Auxiliary Building 616 next to his tower. Soon after, while heading there, they were ambushed by an assassin and a group of monsters born from fear. Tandy used her energy sword to open a container, and she and Mina took cover behind doors and windows. However, Mina was captured and infected, forcing Tandy to use her powers and join the fight against the infected, which caused the police to seal the zone. Tyrone, escaping the station through teleportation, emerged next to Tandy. In a desperate move, he managed to electrocute Mina to regain control of her. But the battle had been so intense that Tyrone's own abilities were compromised. At last, the twins were reunited, and through tears they vowed to save the city, knowing it might cost them a personal sacrifice. Although the news filled them with sorrow, it also reignited their trust amid the fear. As they advanced toward the control room, their allies joined them. From an elevated point, Karen provided cover with a sniper rifle. Just as she went to reload her ammo, Leo appeared unexpectedly and opened fire, injuring her and forcing her to retreat. Tyrone couldn't ignore it. He confronted Leo and dragged him up to the rooftop. He didn't want to push him, but when Leo tried to escape, Tyrone's cloak, Billy's legacy, activated with a power that seemed to come from his brother. Tyrone then understood the meaning of Lisa's prophecy. His ability to teleport wasn't meant for sacrifice, but to fulfill his purpose faster than anyone else. Instead of choosing separation, Tyrone chose to save himself and others alongside Tandy. The two joined their powers, held hands, and faced the fear rising from the depths together. In a blinding flash of light, they managed to contain it. They saved New Orleans and broke the curse of sacrifice. Both of them survived. However, the battle wasn't truly over. Karen, who had been thrown into the water by Leo, reappeared. Her infection wasn't like the others. Something inside her had changed, leaving the door open to a new threat on the horizon.